Hey guys, it's Ahmer here, and as many of you guys know, I'm trying to go for a full Super Nintendo set of video games. And with having about 200 left to complete out there for a full North American set, I thought that it would be a great idea to go through my inventory, see which games are my most expensive. So these are going to be my top 10 Super Nintendo games, and boy, let me tell you, there are tons left that I need in the set. So this is going to be a real fun time at some of these upcoming video game conventions. So we'll start out with my number one. This right here is Earthbound, and I had to find this complete in the big box. Having this amazing guidebook in here, this free player's guide, with the original Kmart sticker on here, this is by far one of my holy grail items in my collection. But this goes for so much money. So according to price charting, for this right here, this is insane. This goes for $2,500 plus complete. And if you're just doing a loose game, a loose cartridge, you're going to pay at least $360. So that is just insane to spend on a video game. But this one right here is so awesome. This is one that so many people love. It's a fantastic RPG. And pretty much in this game, it's set in a small town, but don't let that fool you because there's so much uniqueness to it. The humor is fantastic. It's so unpredictable. The dialogue is pretty funny. So this is a game that so many people absolutely love. You have this fun, goofy, heartwarming. You have this awesome atmosphere. The bosses are also hilarious. Just the names of them are pretty good. And the soundtrack is fantastic. So this one right here is one that everyone must play. Now, trying to pay, $3,000 plus for a complete unbox is just insane. But if you have a way to play this game, you absolutely need this one in your collection, as this one is one of my holy grails. But that's not all, because there are other expensive games. So, this one right here, Hagan. This one I got for, I think, over $500 or so at the time, but this game I've seen go for over $1,000. And according to price charting, this game goes for $850 plus. This is insane. So this one, we all know there was this huge debate over if this was a Blockbuster exclusive, and even though people argue both sides, I think that's what caused this game to go up in price. Now this is your side-scrolling action platformer. You have this cool ninja cyborg. So this is actually a really fun one, but this is so hard. And as you're going around, tons to do, you have this awesome enemy and level design in the game, and it really looks fantastic. Now to pay the price for this game, I'm not sure it's quite worth that much, but this is one that you should definitely try out, and I always seem to have a blast whenever I attempt to play it, just because it is really challenging, and it's one that definitely holds me up as I'm playing the game. Then on to this one. So this is going to be Metal Warriors. And this game is another one that is super expensive. Now I got it at a local game store, and I got it for an amazing deal. I think it was a part of a sale. So I got it almost half off or something crazy like that. But this one is crazy. It's $398.44 according to price charting. But this is very similar to Cybernator, which is way cheaper. But this game has way better graphics, it sounds a lot better, and it's not really related to that game. So there are 5 different robots, and as you're taking damage, your character turns from red to gray. So I think that that's a really cool maneuver throughout the game that just kind of helps you as you're going through. Now you can get out of the cyber suit, so I thought that was really cool that you can get out of the mech as you're going through this game, but this one is worth a try, and it really is a fun one. Next up, we have another big box game. These big box games are getting more and more hard to find. So this one is Super Bomberman with the Party Pack, an awesome multiplayer game that you could play on the Super Nintendo. And this one is definitely going up in price. So even though it has $275 on here, I did not pay that much. So according to price chart, this game goes for between $233 to $472. It just kind of depends. Price charting's a little bit all over the place. But this is so much fun, especially if you're playing a 4-player game, and this is perfect for that. So it can be chaotic, intense, and definitely competitive if you're playing with other people. It's very fast-paced, pretty addictive, and I love how the upbeat music really hits home. And everyone just looks like they are having a blast, according to the box. And I just love these awesome images of this game. Just a really fun time, and a great one to add into the collection. Then on to this game, we have Evo. So this is really cool. This is Search for Eden. So this one did something really different than a lot of other games, especially around this time. So you have this game, which is about $203.22 on price charting. So you pretty much start out as a fish, and as you go through, you get to gain evolution points. So it's like this strategy fish simulator, where you get to like grow legs and you can set out on land. But this game, you have to grind, and you pretty much have to eat everything. So it is very unique, and you get to choose what you want to evolve into. But this game takes so much time, especially to get anywhere. But it's a really cool concept, and one that is a lot of fun. But once again, for some of these prices, it's just so insane. But I'm so happy to have these, and so thankful, because my collection has some amazing games in it, and just fun ones that I really enjoy playing. Then on to this game. This one is actually Sonic Blast Man 2. So they do have a first one, which is not the best game, and then they have a second one. But this one is going for about $192.89, which is crazy because a couple years ago, this was like less than $100. So this is definitely insane that a game like this can skyrocket in price. So the first one did have some special moves. It was a beat 'em up, but the enemies were slower and generic. But in the second game, they did it so much better. This game was so much faster. You have 3 different playable characters, and Sonya is probably the best one. At least I really enjoyed playing through the game with her. And you pretty much get to dodge enemy attacks. There is a dash button, so I like how they added that. But there are different special moves. The bosses are pretty interesting, and enemies are pretty interesting too. It's really creative how they, kind of changed everything up. But this is a very short game, but I just really enjoyed it because I love these beat 'em ups. I love something that has, something a little bit different to offer in it, and this one is a really cool find. Now on to this box set. So I kind of stumbled across this, and I know it's not in the best shape, but this has a shooter series. So this right here comes with this light gun, and it's really cool because it also comes with a game. And I've seen that a couple of them sell with different Super Scope games in here, but this one is Metal Combat. We have Falcon's Revenge. So the one that I saw on price charting was the one that came bundled with Battle Clash, which this is a part of the shooter series, and I see this game going for $174 to upwards of $500+ for this particular game, which is just insane. I think the shooter series part is kind of what makes this one, a lot more. So on the back, it even shows, Yoshi Safari, Battle Clash, and Metal Combat. So these are definitely fantastic Super Scope games, but this one in particular, I would have to say is probably the best one. So this is pretty much a sequel to Metal Combat, but they just didn't call it that. So it's a continuation. You get to point and shoot. So throughout this game, you have multiple charge shots. You have different power-ups, and this looks so much better than the first one. The graphics look better. It's visually stunning. Details in the enemy really make this one a great game. And even though there's about 12 compatible games for the Super Scope, I would have to say that this one is probably one of my favorites. So I could definitely see why this game would be bundled in here. So it's just really cool to have this with the gun, the game, and it looks like this game's even like, shrink wrapped or at least closed. It comes with some instructions in here, but the box is a little bit beat up, but it's still a really extremely hard to find piece. I would say that this is a pretty rare one, especially if you don't know and you have not seen one of these before. Then on to this one, we have Artie Lightfoot. So this one is another one of those characters, but this one's also a very fun game. but for the price, I'm not too sure that I would pay over $170 for this. So it's definitely not the best, but very interesting. So this is another platformer. Now, this is one that I feel like a lot of people don't hear about too often. At least I didn't hear about it until the later years. So you have like 17 levels. The music is definitely good. And I just remember some of the different levels. A lot of them look very similar, but the one where you get swallowed up is definitely interesting looking. But the combination of the camera and the controls definitely make this a game that's pretty easy to pick up, and it feels pretty comfortable. So I would say that if you could find this one for a lot cheaper, I definitely try this one as opposed to some of the other platformers for the Super Nintendo. Then this game here. So this is one of the first ones that I picked up when I was going for the full set. I loved Kirby's Dream Land. I love playing that game. And even though Kirby's Dream Land 3 is a little bit of like a step up from Kirby's Dream Land 2, I still absolutely love this game. So I got this one for a great deal because I did not pay $169 like price charting says. So this is one of the last Super Nintendo games that were ever made, and Kirby can summon a friend in this game. So it feels just like Kirby's Dream Land 2, but it's a little bit of like a slower paced game for Kirby games. It looks good, it sounds good, and it's definitely a fun game. So I absolutely love Kirby. I love all of the different games in this whole entire bunch, and I find something very charming about this on the Super Nintendo. So maybe I'm super nostalgic, but this one I really enjoy on the Super Nintendo. Then on to this one. This is Noseforu 2. So this game is definitely an interesting looking one. It's definitely so much different than a lot of these other games mentioned. Just something about the atmosphere about this. You have this cinematic platformer, so you get to fight with your bare hands. There are some like jump kicks, and you do have like some other things that you do, but there are no weapons. So I just find that very interesting that you'd have just like a running charge instead of adding weapons. But the presentation, the music, the visuals, the colors, you know, like that horror theme, with all of this going on, it feels like a really fun game. Now this is very difficult, and the level design really makes you think so, because there are spikes and you get to collect crystals, and there's just so much going on. So this is a rather challenging game, but just something about it makes it very interesting and so much different with these dark tones in this particular game. So overall, it's insane to think that I have thousands of dollars here just in my hands of these awesome Super Nintendo games, as I'm going for that full set of Super Nintendo games. But I just cannot believe that some of these games have went up, especially since I started collecting. And I have so many fun, some expensive ones left to go ahead and collect, but having around the 200 mark left in this whole entire North American set is just mind-blowing. So let me know in the comments down below which games are some of your favorites in this list, and if you had any amount of money to spend on these games, which games from this particular list would you buy? So of course, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out all of my other videos and stay tuned for more.